In this video, I'm going to be showing you the backing process that I did for Eoin. Lunging and long reining are really important features to include when backing a horse. So here you can see I'm lunging Eoin with a bit and a bridle and then a numner with a roller on. We then introduced him to long reining. We decided to do this inside his stable as we weren't quite sure how he was going to react. You can see he doesn't quite understand what's going on, but because he was in the stable, he was contained and he was quite good, to be honest. Because this was his first time being long reined, we just did this and then left it at that once he was nice and relaxed. And then the next day we decided to take him around the yard and put a saddle on him. We also changed his bit from the Wilkie to a slightly cheek snaffle, which he seemed a lot happier in. As you can see here, he's pretty much got the hang of long reining at this point. We then did a couple of days of just long reining him around the school. This really helps get him used to having pressure on his mouth and the idea of having reins as control. He had a few baby green moments, but nothing major at all. He actually took to it so well. I was very pleased with him. I thought he was going to be a lot flightier than he was, which was great for me. After doing that for a little bit, we then took him out down the road with the long reins so that he could get used to seeing different things around, obviously vehicles and just different flighty things happen on a hack rather than in the school. He was so happy to be out and about doing things. It was so nice to see. He had a big smile on his face the whole time and his ears pricked as well. I haven't long reined a horse properly before Eoin, so it was really good for me to test out and learn everything with him. Obviously under the watchful eye of my mum, but it was nice to have a go myself. It's definitely something I would recommend trying out. Even with horses that have been in work for ages, long reining them is always beneficial. We had fun, so I long reined him down the road, up the bridle paths, all of that, the areas that I'd be covering riding him as well because it was good practice. After long reining him each day, we would take him up to the mountain block to get him used to that. He was quite wary of the height of the person on the block, so we did lots of practice just to slowly introduce that to him. Another great exercise that you can do when backing a horse is long rein lunging, so that's what you can see in these videos here, where my mum is lunging him with both the long reins. This way you can introduce turning to them as well. As you can see here, he was a little bit confused, but that was his first time doing that, and he soon got used to what she was asking him to do. You can see how much more forwards and relaxed he is in these videos here compared to the first ones, which really shows why it's so important to do lots of groundwork exercises like these ones before you introduce weight onto the saddle itself. Having a horse that really trusts you on the ground will make it so much easier to then get on them, and they'll be more confident with you and trust what you're asking them to do. Here my mum is long reining Eoin around the mountain block and making him wait there, as obviously that is really good practice for what's to come. As you can see, he's not really bothered by the mountain block, he's happy to wait by it, and then when he's asked to walk on he goes off quite nicely. I can't seem to find any of the videos that I took when I first started climbing up the mountain block and stroking Eoin, that sort of thing, getting him used to me being on there. So here's a few days later where I'm introducing shaking on the saddle, which is just a little bit of weight, and then I lean on him just to get him used to that. You can see him react a little bit here, so I just gently relieve the pressure and go off, and then we get back on and do it again. When backing a horse, you've got to remember this is all completely new for them. They have no idea what you're trying to do to them, so you've just got to take it really slow and in their own time. Each one will be different, so it just depends how it's going, and know them as a horse individually. Don't just think everyone's going to be the same. I am fully aware that it looks like I'm swimming when I do this, but it just really gets the horse used to movement all over the saddle in every direction, as if they jump or anything, who knows what can happen with your body. It can go in weird places, can't it? So just allow this, please. So here I am about to lean on Eoin again. As you can see, he's getting more relaxed each time, which is really great. It just shows that he's trusting what we're doing and we've got the confidence with him rather than rushing him through it. Let's just wiggle the legs around because why not? Eoin is probably thinking at this point, what is she doing? Are we done yet? Is she just going to keep on flapping her legs around on me? Once I've done that for a little while, I get back off, and guess what? I can get on and do it again. So I do a little bit more flapping around, and then as long as he's relaxed, we do a little move forwards. You can see he's unsure because this is the first time that he's moving with weight on his back. You just have to let the horse figure it out in their own time. So I just kept patting him, letting him know that I was still there, as if he couldn't feel it. And then he stepped forwards when he's ready and just did a few little baby steps. We didn't want to do too much, so once he's happy, walked forwards, you then ask him to stop, and then obviously get off, and guess what? You do it again. Surprise, surprise. He would get a little bit more confident each time we did this, so do a few more steps, that sort of thing. He then felt ready for me to just have a little sit on, so I gently popped my weight onto the saddle upright and in a normal seated position, opposed to being leant over him. I sat on him for a few seconds, gave him a little pat, and then gently dismounted, and then we would do it all again. As you can tell, this is quite a repetitive process, but trust me, it's all worth it. And it's obviously spread out over a few weeks. I think so far what I've shown you, it was about 3 weeks work. Once he's happy with my weight on him, we then ask him to walk forwards a couple of steps. As you can see again here, he's a bit unsure, does lots of little steps rather than walking off forwards. I'm not doing much at this point personally, I'm just sat on him and giving him lots of reassurance, patting him and talking to him, whereas my mum's there just gently asking him to walk forwards. At this point, if I were to have asked him to walk on with my leg, he probably would have shot forwards or shot sideways because he would have been completely confused. That's something we introduce a bit later on. I carried on doing this for a few days, so this is the next day. I sat on him, got off, then got back on, walked forwards. Just gradually asking him to do a little bit more each day, so walking a slightly bigger circle, that sort of thing. You can already see here he's a bit more confident to walk on, he's not quite so unsure, he goes in a bit more of a forwards rhythm, still very steady, but not quite so stoppy-starty. This is a sort of thing that I would do about 3 times in a session, so get on, walk a circle, get off, then get back on, walk another circle, just a couple of times each day. You can see at this point I'm still giving him a little wiggle of the saddle each time before I get on, just to make sure he knows what's going on. I choose not to hold the reins at the first few days of me riding him. It's just personal preference really. I would be worried that if something happened and spooked him, if I grabbed hold of the reins, it would then upset him for a few more days. I'm also very lucky. I know if my mum's got hold of me, we are not going anywhere. She's done lots of backing with horses. I've backed loads of horses alongside her, so she's like a rock. She's not going to let go of me. I might fall off, but she'll still have hold of the pony. You can see here how much more confident he is with my weight on the back, no stopping and starting in the walk, and just generally looking a lot happier and relaxed. It's always important to give the pony or horse lots of pats to make sure they know that they've been good, so I always do that before I get off and quite often once I'm off as well, and obviously as you saw, when I get on. These clips are now from the last 2 days that I rode him in the school before then taking him out on a hack, which is a bit more exciting. Some horses, like Queenie, I backed actually by taking her out on a hack, but Eoin was more the type to get him calm and relaxed with the weight of the rider on, before then introducing him to everything else that can go on. Obviously, Eoin is 3, whereas Queenie was 5, so she was a bit more ready to go out and do something straight away and keep her busy rather than taking that time. She already had the confidence around people. Right, here we are, Owen's first ridden hack. Mum was still leading me just for the first day, just so that we could make sure nothing was going to go too wrong. I can honestly say he was such a dream to take out as well. I was so impressed by his behaviour. He didn't do anything wrong really, hardly even a little spook. To me, this just highlights how important it is to really take it slowly with them and do that long reining work down the road as well. Just then obviously your horse gets used to the environment before you then take them out on it on their own. After his first outing down the road, I had full confidence that he was going to be a good boy, so the second day I rode him out on my own. Mum came with me to get some videos, of course, but he was a very good boy. He didn't need leading or anything. Just look at that little happy face, doesn't he look so cute? Not gonna lie, I think I definitely picked a good purchase here. He's an adorable little boy. So he had a quiet hack down the road, and I also took him up the bridle path, which is also really great because the branches were all overgrown, so they were tickling his tummy, that sort of thing, which is just another thing they have to get used to. Because he's such a dinky little pony, it was so funny the cow parsley was really overgrown, so I'd crop most of this video away because that just looked like I was floating in a high vis and there was no pony there. It is also now 20 past midnight, so I'm really sorry if this voiceover is going a bit hectic. Anyway, that was him just popping over a little broken down branch. And here he is going through the scary mountain block, being such a brave boy. This is now the day after and Eoin's first hack with another horse. Of course, we took Rosie out. As he is only 3, I left the backing at that for now, so he has basically gone from doing absolutely nothing to being lightly backed out to hack. I just wanted to include this clip as you can see how we've gone from being held at the mountain block and being scared to then getting on with no one there. So thank you guys so much for watching this, and I hope you enjoyed Eoin's backing process.